Have you ever recollected these memories of really hard times that you went through in your life? The hardest times. And thinking back, man, the fact that I made it through those, it's mind-boggling in itself. But then you start thinking about the memories that you made, the experiences, the knowledge, the wisdom, everything in between. And you start to think, man, it all makes sense that I have become this person. The things that I went through, they actually made me into who I am. And it's the reason why I'm standing right here in this spot. And then on the other side of the coin, you start to think about all of the best times of your life, the greatest memories that you can think of. And these are the ones that you tell yourself, man, these are what I want to fill my book up with. These are the ones that when I'm going through a tough time or when I'm going through a struggle, I want to think about these things. And that's what's going to give me the motivation to overcome whatever it is that I'm going through. And they give you that sense of peace. Well, when I was 18, I started this master journal here. And although it's not quite filled up yet, it has every experience that I went through since I was 18. Now I'm talking about the emotions that I had, the thoughts, the successes, the heartaches, everything in between. And I started it because I didn't feel like I could articulate what I was going through to another person. So I just poured it out onto paper. And eventually it got to the point where I needed to talk about it more, but I wasn't ready or I wasn't comfortable enough to say it to somebody close to me. So I started making these videos back in 2015, back before I even started this YouTube channel. And I would just talk and have these audio journals where I would just talk about the struggles that I was going through, the successes that I went through, and just trying to articulate them in a way that I could make a better sense of what I was going through. Now, like I mentioned, it took me a long time to even develop the confidence and the comfort level to actually talk about these things in public. And it wasn't until I was 30 that I decided to actually post it on YouTube and really my thoughts and experiences and anything alike. Now, although a lot of these videos that I had, especially these older ones that I had, they've been deleted, but I still have some of these older ones that I look back on and I can connect to that person that I was. I remember the exact moment that I recorded it and I can tap into that feeling that I had when I was expressing this just to myself on my phone. And it's a feeling that if I wouldn't have documented these things, I would have lost it and I wouldn't be able to very clearly see the progression over my life of who I've become and what I've been through and what it all means. So in this video, I want to talk about the benefits of why you should document your life. Now, I'm not talking about making a YouTube channel and posting it for everyone to see. If you want to do that, you can post it there, post it to social media, whatever you want to do. But this is for yourself. This is for your future self. It's for you to document your story. Because if you don't document these things, you're going to eventually forget. So I've got 4 reasons why you should document your life. And the first one is growth. Now, over the years, especially when I first started to document things and get in front of the camera and start to talk to it, I was very camera shy. And it came from a fear of public speaking. I had done some public speaking in the past, but nothing really in front of a camera. So I didn't know how to really act or even how to be myself. And even today, I'm a lot more comfortable with it, but there are still times that, I've got to kind of get in the zone to talk to the camera. But it's very normal to have this sense of, being a little bit camera shy or not really knowing, how to speak to it in a way that makes sense. Now, for me, after I kind of peeled back the layers and I really asked myself, well, why do I feel these things and why is this such a big obstacle? It came down to the fear of being myself in public. I know it sounds very weird, but I think we all struggle with, being our true selves in public because of the fear of rejection or, someone not liking it or just disagreeing with how we are. A very normal feeling to experience. But another thing that I've come to find out is that at the end of the day, the only thing people care about is themselves. Now, I'm not talking about in an arrogant way or anything like that, but if you look like a fool on camera, things happen so rapidly in the world that we live in. There's going to be something else that is more serious or is, more embarrassing that is going to come into these people's news feed or that's going to come into their circle and they're going to be occupied with that. So the fact that, we go through these feelings of being a little bit shy or being nervous, the only way to overcome these things is just by actually doing it. And, the people that can stick it out and continue showing up, you'll eventually become, halfway decent at it and not look like a total fool. But even if you don't, that also has value in its own because you've kind of created this a niche audience that is attracted to that. They can relate that to you, and you just create your own kind of quirky perception. But going along with this concept of growth, you can actually see it over the years, and you can see it through the experiences that you had. So back to my black book that I talked about from the time I was 18 to now, and continuing on, there are so many small stories here that I look at why I did certain things at the time that I did, and I sometimes question, why did I do those things? And a lot of it is, I'm a big believer, and I had to go through some of these experiences to become the person that I am today, to become to have the wisdom and to be able to help someone else that may be struggling with something. I wouldn't be able to articulate that if I hadn't documented these things. But you look back and, it can be kind of embarrassing to look at those things that you did, and it kind of creates some of the fun in the entire story. Now, the second reason why you should document your life is to record the lessons. Now, as we've talked about, the lessons that you go through, it's so easy to forget the detailed emotions that you went through, the thoughts and everything in between, because as time goes on, you just start to remember the highlights, and you remember if it was a success or a failure, but you don't necessarily remember how you reasoned through it. And one of the biggest benefits that I've had by documenting some of these things is that I was able to replay the actual thought process that I went through, and the struggle or the success that I experienced, and it helps to translate towards something later on in life, whether it be another experience that I may go through, or whether it may be somebody that I know close to me that is going through something similar. I can better relate to this person and help them along their path, and in hopes that maybe they can skip some of the harder steps that I had to go through, just because I documented some of these lessons in detail. Now, with lessons comes the third reason to document your life, and that's for wisdom. So, hopefully on the other side of going through these lessons that you have throughout your life, you gain wisdom. Now, with wisdom, this is what it all comes down to. Without wisdom, without taking what we've learned through these lessons over time, what really is the point of this existence? You go through these things to share with other people so you can hopefully improve their lives, to give them value in a way that maybe it cuts some steps off their rough path, or maybe you show them something that can help them leapfrog, what they've been struggling with for years. You never know what your experience can do in terms of benefiting someone else's life. I remember when I first started writing in this journal, I thought, man, the one thing that I want to have after all of this is just some wisdom. I want to be a source for people that they can come to, and they can find peace in the journey that they're going through despite the chaos that may be going on. And I just want to be that support system for, whoever it may be that comes along. And if I wouldn't have documented any of these things, I don't know if I would have any of that. I do remember specifically some of the things that I was going through during early on in my journey. I would look to these people that had succeeded in the areas of life that I wanted to find success in. And now, though some of these people were miles and miles ahead of me, I could retrace their steps because they had also documented their journey. So I could see that, hey, some of these people, they had went through some of the exact same things that I was going through. So there is hope. There is, potential on the other side that I could actually, make it through this. And just providing another resource for someone, you can't go wrong. And the fourth reason why you should document your life is for memories. So this part is it's very tough for me to talk about right now because um, I've always been a little bit um, I've always moved through my life a little bit fast, and I've always you know really tried to prioritize working hard over everything else. And this past month, I actually lost my dog that I had for 11 and a half years. Um, I got her the day after I graduated college, and she was with me every single day of my adult life until just recently. And, I know to some people, they're like, it's a dog, but, those of you that have pets or have lost a pet, I know you know exactly what I'm talking about here. But that dog was my best friend, and she'd seen me through the best times of my adult life and also the worst. And, when I wasn't documenting these things in my journal or on video, she would be the one that I would talk to. And, you know, when I felt uncomfortable talking to anybody else, any human, I could always, obviously she didn't understand what I was saying, but I could always just get it out, and talk to her. And, fortunately, throughout the years, I've got all these pictures of, when she was a puppy, all the way up until, her last days. And without documenting my life, I wouldn't have any of that. And the thing that I always look back, on during these videos is she always showed up for me when I needed somebody. And she's always very loyal, always in such an excited mood. And without documenting this, it wouldn't give me the insight of how I want to live my life moving forward. It wouldn't give me that background of, man, I need to show up for other people when they need it the most. I need to be there in my best mood for people when they're struggling because I need to pick them up. And she taught me all those things. And I know again, it sounds weird to some of you guys that, oh, this is just a dog, but man, if you can look at it from, a spiritual perspective of, you know, if you can do these things for someone else, think of the impact that you could have on their life and possibly pick them up to want to be a better person, to want to be the same type of person that you were trying to be. And, without these memories documented, I think you're cutting yourself short when it comes to, the story that you could tell. Now, when we talk about documenting your life and just replaying the memories that you built, both positive and negative, both successes and failures, and being able to look back and see the growth that you've had, the lessons that you've gained, the wisdom, and be able to relive some of these memories, it's something that you have to take action on and start doing now. Now, I know when you look at social media and you look at YouTube, and, for a lot of people, documenting your life looks different in all aspects. And the way that I'm talking about it is to tell your story, but more importantly, remember the details of your story so it can live on, and record the growth and pass on the lessons and the wisdom. And most importantly, replay these memories that you've experienced, because if you don't record these now, you're going to forget the details, and some of the best times of your life, they're going to slip by, and you won't be able to, revisit these times with gratitude and enjoyment and be able to share them with other people. So, at the end of this, I hope that you can find the importance and find the courage to start recording and documenting your own life, and however that may be, whether it's journaling, whether it's video, diaries, whatever you prefer. But this is one thing that, at the end of your days, you won't want to miss out on. So I hope you guys like this one. If you have a comment, question, you want to just start a conversation, drop it below and let's talk. And of course, do what others won't.